welcome back to yet another episode of Blonde,
Brunette,
and Confused.
I'm Bella, the blonde one.
I'm Lauren, the brunette one.
And I'm Hannah, the confused one.
Today we're going to be chatting with our old RA, Liz. For those who don't know, an RA is a residence assistant, and although each college might call them something else, you definitely encounter one at some point in your college career. So today we thought it would be fun to have Liz come share some crazy experiences that she had while on the job. Liz, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, thank you, Lauren. I'm happy to be here. My name's Elizabeth, but you guys like to call me Liz around these parts of town. And I just recently graduated in December, and I used to be you guys' RA.
We're so excited to have you. We really want to know more about what is an RA and what are the kind of duties you have to fulfill.
So with the RA position, you'll read the description on the website, and it just says that you kind of provide guidance and supervision to residents, and I think it's a lot more than that. It's kind of like how I always described it to you guys as being the big sister, the mom, the mother hen, the cop, and then, therapist, and then slight psychiatrist.
Also, why did you choose to be an RA when you came to college?
So when I first came here, I didn't really know what an RA was. So I spent a year just being a normal resident. But during that year, I got close with my RA. His name was Connor. And it was just a lovely relationship we had. I'd always just bug and annoy him like a big brother. And I heard that it was a position available. So I wanted to be kind of that guidance. You know how you have elementary school teachers and you always kind of remember them as impacting your life in some sort of way. Like your teacher wrote you up or something. I don't know. I wanted to kind of be a part of everyone's life growing up here at college because we're still growing up. And also free room and board was kind of like awesome too. Not gonna lie.
Perks.
For you, what were some of the most rewarding things about being an RA? It was me, I know.
Well, the cat's out of the bag. The rewarding things, I would say, that are not the physical aspect, like, the room, because that's pretty shallow, but I would say the most exciting and rewarding aspects are probably meeting each and every one of you and kind of getting to know you guys in a more deeper level than superficially, and being able to help and be some sort of figure that you can rely on, let's say, if you have no one else to turn to, and so you don't feel alone. And then seeing where you guys go off after I leave or you leave me. It's nice to see where you guys end up. It's like having my children and like seeing you grow up.
Fun RA fact, before my boyfriend and I started dating, I made Liz and our RA Matt listen to how I felt about him.
Oh my God, I remember that and I loved every part of it.
It was so good.
Yeah, they're definitely, at least for me, I don't have any older siblings, and you were that for me, which was really fun. So not only do I get to lay all of my problems on you at any point, but then you also get to tell me your fun older sister stories so that I can, learn from what you've done in college and all
Liz
that.
had good, older sister stories, specifically about boys.
Oh my God.
Any boy questions, Liz?
That's a fact.
Oh my God, that's something I really know very well. The classic fuckboy. That species, I've studied them. Watch out.
Yeah, she got a minor here at Hofstra.
Okay.
We've shared some of the benefits, but what were some of the biggest challenges about being an RA?
I want to say two aspects, like the kind of reputation and then also with the residents. So with the reputation, all eyes are on us. So when you go out, to do your after school activities off campus or something, you'll see your RA. And it's kind of like a weird scenario where it's like, do I notice you? Do I say hi? Are we on that level? Will you write me up outside of school? It's like, I won't, but like, if I didn't see you, you didn't see me kind of thing. It's really weird because you're kind of bumped up to like, I guess, a B-list Hofstra celebrity by default. Like, you don't want to be, but you are. So there's that. And then the other aspect is kind of finding time to get to know each and every one of you and kind of understand from what you tell me, but also your interactions, body language, what you like to do to kind of get a whole picture of you, and then do that for every single one of you in the house, and then kind of cater to your needs along with my own personal mess that is my life. Definitely a struggle to balance both.
So now that we've talked about all the professional aspects of being an RA, let's get into the more fun stuff. So what is some of the stupid or crazy things that you have found during room checks or when you're moving people out?
So when you said that, I instantly had a war flashback to this one specific health and safety inspection. You never know what you're gonna get. And one time, I'm not gonna name the house. I don't think it matters, but one time I went with Sixto. This was when I first started, so we weren't as close as we were. So when the situation happened, it was pretty damn awkward. I think it was just me and him, and we were doing room checks. And I enter a room. I look to my right, and there on the wall was a giant pink dildo stuck to the wall above the sofa. My first thought wasn't, what the fuck? My first thought was, how did they reach? Because it wasn't in like a spot where you can reach it if you're doing it on the sofa. And I was like, okay, that's pretty weird. I'll tell Sixto about it because I don't know if those are like, can you stick it on the wall? That'll cause damage. Like, I don't know. Safety? I don't know.
Safety. Help.
I just was like, okay. And then I walked further into the room. And then there on the desk, I saw a big black colored dildo on the desk, but this one was unopened. So I was like, wow, okay. And then I guess in the next suite after that one in the same house, there was a dog that was not registered with the university. It was cute. So we weren't too mad about it.
It was cute.
Yeah, but that's interesting things I found during health and safeties other than like a giant Confederate flag. Politics aside, it was really awkward because the roommate was an international student.
Oh no.
So, yes. It's like, what do we do here with conflicts? But yeah, that's what I got.
We've also heard the rumors that our particular building may be haunted. We learned about this because our friends, who we've mentioned a ton, they hear all these weird noises at night, things creaking and opening, and so they're the ones that actually brought it up. And then Liz tagged on when she saw that and was trying to confirm our theories, so we didn't know if you wanted to talk about it.
Yes, I love paranormal activity. I love it. There's a whole story. Last year, there were situations happening in that room that were inexplicable, and some residents were affected in a very strange way that I can't explain, but I didn't pay mind to it. Then this year, I got the same reports from the same room, and so I was like, okay, something's going on, because I analyzed the shit out of everything. So I was like, all right, I got some extra time on Saturday. Let's look this up. So I looked it up, and apparently a resident unfortunately passed away in that room. A couple years ago, he went off to a party and he lost his ID, so his friend let him sleep on his futon, and he was a resident of another building, and he passed away on the futon the next morning. They had first responders come in, and so it's just a weird coincidence that that happens in that room. And then now there's all these little things going on in that room for 2 years now, so I definitely think there's some correlation.
But also a lesson learned to all of you out there, don't be afraid to even tell your RA if you have that situation where a friend is under the influence and you don't know whether their health could be at risk. So not only is that kind of a creepy story to us now, but it can also be a story to all of you to learn and make sure we all stay safe out there.
Yes, it's better your friend is mad at you if they get in trouble than if anything bad happens to them.
Side note, from what I remember as an RA, you can't get in trouble for being intoxicated at the house. If you're in the act of drinking in the house, then you get in trouble.
So stay safe.
So we've heard you refer to our dorm from the year like the people who lived there before in the situation as Zoo Trek. Would you like to speak about that?
Do you like how I instantly smiled at that
Yes.
one? So my first year as an RA, I was new and confused. Looks at Hannah.
I'm confused.
I was paired up with a co at the time that was a senior, and he was kind of a hostile celebrity, and he had other things to worry about. So I didn't want to, be annoying or ask too much. Man, no, wish I kind of did. But with him being gone all the time and not really helping me and like teaching me the ropes, it was up to me to kind of care for the whole house, both floors, and I didn't really know how to. They kind of were a little rambunctious. I started with the friendship approach because I didn't know what other way. And then I instantly learned that with the friendship approach, they will like you, they will respect you, but they might not agree with the things you have to uphold. So a lot of crazy shit happened that year. Kids, they ran around. One of them put on like a black, what is it called? A morph suit.
Yeah.
And was running around terrorizing everybody for like a couple weeks during October.
Weeks. We're talking weeks.
He was really into it. I give him credit. He couldn't scare me though. Then we had a couple kids take the mattresses and ride them down the staircases. I don't know how they did that, but they stole furniture from other houses. Oh my god, my boss is gonna kill me. They would like throw parties when I'm not around. Since there was only at that point one RA, if I went home for the weekend, one, they knew when I walked out. I wear heels every day. They can hear me leave. That kind of correlates back to that haunted room where a resident kind of went a little crazy. I don't know what happened when I first met him and checked him in. He was such a sweet kid. And over time, they all started going out during that season of rushing or whatever. And after some time, I kept getting reports about him that he was like being a little strange and causing some trouble. So I'd go, kind of fix the situation with him. And he seemed like a little more odd and odd every time. And it wasn't until towards the end of the year where I got frantic knocking at my door, and I opened it. It was 4 residents, and they were telling me how he was wielding a knife. He was carving into the doors. He was writing really weird cryptic things on the doors that you kind of see in Illuminati conspiracy videos. You can't make that stuff up. So I told them to all go in their rooms, lock their doors. I'm going to call Peace Safe because we don't know what he's going to do with that knife. And then I went with the Peace Safe officers to his room, and there he was, just like pretending nothing happened. There's like soot on the ground because apparently he tried to set the floor on fire as well. And I've received reports about that in the past. And yeah, so at the end of the day, I think he was kind of taken away to a ward in the hospital. So I don't know what happened to him, but he was not like that before.
I don't know how to follow up from that.
Nobody does. Nobody does.
Yes. That's definitely not something that happens very often, we're assuming. So if you're listening to this and you're going into college, don't be worried about that. That's just like a big extreme.
Yeah.
Liz went through all of that her first year, but then when she was with us, she was a seasoned professional. She was really, really good at not only being our friend, but also demanding respect and not being afraid to write people up. So I didn't know if you wanted to talk about that at all, your growth as an RA.
Your first year, you kind of weren't sure what to do. Because once we got there, you were a very good RA. How do you think you figured that out, and when do you think you figured that out?
I think I figured it out when I was paired with Krangle, and we started talking before training, and he was asking me what to do and all the stuff that you typically ask when you're new. And I realized I now had to step up to the plate. I learned from the past. I was like, you know what, this year I'm gonna show Krangle how it's supposed to be so that when I leave, he can be the strong one.
For those of you who don't know, Krangle is our current RA.
He was the RA with Liz, and then Liz finished last semester, so now it's him and another girl. But so he is our other RA. He also lives directly across the hall from our room.
So yeah, I just kind of made it clear with everybody that I am not afraid to write you up because after all, that is my job. But also it's just, I have one rule that I've always applied even last year, and it was just, I don't care what you do. I am not going to helicopter mom you. You make your own decisions in life, and I respect them. I will still love you. I'll be mad at you, but I'll love you aggressively. And I just ask you don't do it in the dorm. That's just my one job. So last year I did a lot of writing up. Over time, it did gain me some respect because it was more so in the aspect of disappointment where they would feel guilty. Like they're like, oh, Liz is mad at me. Like she wrote me up. She yelled at me. And so they'd come and apologize to me, or they'd like walk across in the hallway with their head down. And then this year, I guess they just kind of scared the shit out of everybody, hopefully. Didn't have to deal with it.
So I know that RAs at night have to walk around the dorms between a certain amount of time, specifically on the weekends. So I was just wondering if when you were doing that, there's anything kind of crazy you've seen or wanted to talk about.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's why I try to avoid weekend duties. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I refuse to do. I will switch. I will fight for a spot because those are the worst days. Round times are usually 3 times during the weekends because of, going out, parties and everything. So it kind of sucks because at that point, you're supposed to stay in the residence hall. You're not allowed to leave. You are a prisoner for 24 hours. So you want to just kind of go to bed. Going around at 1 a.m. sucks. But then also when you have the people stumbling back from the bars, it's kind of a little difficult because on one hand you're allowed to come back, drunk, whatever, you did that all campus, but on the other hand it's kind of risky because if you see someone throw up, by policy we have to call an ambulance. So it's kind of hard because we're like, is that person okay?
Do you have any other crazy stories that we haven't mentioned or we haven't really thought about?
Oh, I guess it kind of relates to the RA aspect a little bit, is that I also had a stalker last semester. I just never told anybody or any of you.
What?
Yeah, so occasionally I would get texts from an unknown number asking me if I was still with my ex at the time, like describing him. I have a habit of not saving numbers. I'm a bad person. So I was like, oh, who is this? And they would answer for a couple days and then ask again, like, are you single? Or like mention how I looked nice one day or something. And it was really creepy. I tried to trace the number, but they used like a fake number generator.
So creepy. What ended up happening? Like, did they just stop?
Well, here's the finale. That happened for the whole semester, and they finally texted me while I was at an RA event, and they said something about they've known him for 2 years and they wanted to date me, but I was like with another guy, and that I looked really great with my new haircut or something that like pinpointed what I looked like that day. And so I was kind of shook. So I went to the bathroom to kind of just like calm down. And then they call me. I didn't realize that person was calling me. So I was like, hi, who is this? And they're like, is this Liz? I'm like, yeah, like an idiot. I was like, yeah. And they're like, oh, I just wanted to like kind of talk to you on the phone about what I said. And I was like, but who are you? How do you have my number? Who are you? Are you here? Like, are you following me? And then they were just like, oh, that's too much to tell you. And I'm like, oh, no, it's not. So I ran and gave the phone to my resident director. And I was like, here, you deal with this. And he was like, hello. And then they hung up. I said, listen, I'm not going to respond to any unknown texts anymore. I'm changing my number. And it finally stopped.
That's terrifying.
That's so creepy.
Oh my gosh, but they had to have been at that event, right? Or no?
Maybe they could have been in Nettie's core, like getting food, or they walked in, walked out. I don't know, but
Oh, true, because there's also windows all in there.
Well, thank goodness you got out of that. And you're not even on campus anymore, so hopefully
It's all okay now.
it's all okay, because that sounds terrifying.
That's really creepy.
yeah, I had many unfortunate circumstances, but being off campus, you know, graduated, my job, and living life.
She's thriving.
Liz has like a real person job, like a grown-up sort of.
I feel like we could definitely have probably a whole series, hours and hours worth of podcasts with Liz. But unfortunately, this is the taste that we can give you. So if you want to hear more fun stories with her, let us know. With that thought in mind of reaching out to us, I'm going to segue it over to Hannah.
To stay up to date on new episodes and a look behind the scenes, follow us at BBNC Pod on all social medias, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, even Pinterest. It's also a great place to contact us, let us know what you think, and give us topics you want to discuss. Finally, share our podcast with anyone you think may be interested. Thanks so much for listening. You're all shining stars.
And thank you, Liz, for being here.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you for having me. It was definitely so awesome to work with you guys.
We love Liz.
I love you. Is that creepy?
No, I like it.